Money can't buy happiness is the most stupidest line I've ever heard. Money does buy happiness. Only the ones who don't have money know how having money could transform their lives. We live in a world where people with money can buy judiciary, healthcare, access, opportunities, and they can also buy extra time for themselves. We as a family we have personally gone through difficult times where abundance of wealth would never have put us in those difficult times in the first place. In that particular situation, we have closely seen people buying their way out of the exact same problems that we faced while we stood there in complete helplessness. I have myself witnessed people work their whole life for opportunities that people with wealth and influence received immediately the moment they entered the room. Wealth is the real superpower. Wealth doesn't just cushions you against the big adversities in life. Wealth also cushions you in your normal everyday life. For example, if your parents, siblings, friends, and loved ones come across any kind of emergencies in life, you can immediately comfort them with your financial assistance. And in times of emergencies, financial assistance will take half of their worries away. And we all have been in this space at some point in our life. It feels terrible when your loved one is in emergency and you are not able to help them financially. And this is exactly where abundance of wealth can bring you genuine happiness when you use it in service of others, especially in service of your loved ones. Wealth provides you with enormous flexibility in life. With wealth, you're not bound to a certain community or a group of people. If your community is sabotaging your growth, progress, and freedom, then with wealth, you can anytime change your location and become a part of society that's progressive and collaborative. In the case of medical emergencies, poor or middle class people don't even get doctor's appointment or they sometimes can't even afford necessary treatments when their health declines. On the other hand, wealthy people instantly get doctor's appointments. They can afford any kind of treatment in any part of the world. And they can afford all of this without even having an insurance. Also, for the post hospitalization care, the wealthy can easily afford nurses and other healthcare professionals to be with them 24/7 at their home and help them conduct their everyday normal life. Whereas with middle class family, a family member has to look after the one who's ill. And the stress of caring for an ill family member in a poor or a middle class family is enormous. The caregivers don't get proper sleep, they have to sometimes quit their job. The social and love life becomes completely non existent, thereby sucking the joy out of the caregiver's life. With wealthy people, there's always every kind of help and assistance available, they only have to throw money. Not just health, but when it comes to work, the wealthy always have multiple sources of passive income, which keeps them financially sorted for the rest of their lives, even if they decide to not work at all. For people who want to have kids, raising them in current economy becomes so much more manageable if the parents are wealthy. But for the ones who are struggling financially, raising kids in any economy is a nightmare. In middle class families, both parents need to work because a single income is not sufficient when you are raising a kid in this current economy. And in poor families, both parents just have to work by default. There is no any other option. The financial difficulties or just difficulties in general don't even come to your mind when you're wealthy. Their life is thoroughly cushioned. And with all of this cushioning, if the wealthy still feel stressed, they can easily book a stress relieving vacation to some isolated island or to some exclusive resort that's reserved for other wealthy people, which is free from social media plebs like me. They have every single mean at their disposal to make themselves feel pampered. The wealthy people can afford to take break anytime they want because they don't have bosses above them. Even if they have bosses, they don't have to think of glazing and buttering their bosses in order to get their leave approved for the vacation. If the wealthy have a weaker passport, they can instantly buy any Caribbean passport or wait for a while and buy a stronger European passport by making an investment, thereby making their travel and their life in general way more easier than it was with their weaker passport. With working class people, even our vacations feel stressful because you have to constantly think of enjoying within your budgets. You have to constantly worry of not overspending, you have to constantly worry of not piling your credit card debt, you have to constantly worry of not exhausting your existing funds. For a working class person, conditions are applied even on having fun on a vacation. And you still have to report to work immediately the next morning you come back from a vacation. And if you're late to reach your work, even by 10 minutes, you get paid in half for that particular day. Middle class people end up working their whole life just achieving goals and targets for their wealthy bosses. Wealth also opens doors for you into influential circles. am an introvert, and as a teenager, or even when I was in my early 20s, I was so naive that I thought that one could easily live their life in their own country without having any powerful or influential connections. And boy, oh boy, I was so wrong. I've now realized that this approach was only going to make my life more difficult than it already is in my own country. You need connections even to survive in the most developed countries in the world. In the entire world, throughout the existence of humanity, the wealthy have always been given preferential treatment. They don't have to spend their whole lives in queues in government buildings. Queues everywhere for them are virtually non existent. They get VIP access in every government building. They are treated like royalty wherever they go. They don't have to keep fighting for their rights or to have their demands met. They are always above every kind of discrimination, racism, queerphobia, or just any kind of hatred in general. Access to influential circles or safe places is a byproduct of their wealth. Sadly, we live in a world where the justice system is a big joke. There have been numerous cases all across the world where the wealthy have bent the judiciary in their favor. The rich always get away despite committing frauds and crimes, while the innocent suffer in helplessness. The wealthy get to always escape wars, dictatorship, hyperinflations, famines. Just look at the amount of wealth the billionaires amassed during the pandemic, while the poor and middle class lost their livelihoods. Wealth always gives a man an upper hand in life. Kids born into wealthy families get automatic access to all the abundant opportunities the world has. Get rich, guys, get rich. And when you get rich, be completely stealth about your wealth. Stay completely low key about your wealth and influence, but constantly be in pursuit of forming and forging new connections, earning more money, and becoming more powerful. And when you decide to become more powerful, just remember that you made this decision out of your own helplessness and suffering. So make sure while becoming a powerful person, you don't trample other people on your way to the top. Otherwise, you will just end up becoming another evil, sadistic plutocrat. You will end up becoming another classic case of the victim becoming the oppressor. We sadly live in a world where kind, good human beings don't get to make the rules, and even the rules already established are not fairly practiced. The less fortunate have to always suffer. So, as a powerful person, it's your moral responsibility to extend the benefits of your influence and power to someone who's less fortunate. With money, one can make sure that they themselves, their parents, and their siblings can live a comfortable life for generations to come. I will always want my parents, siblings, and all my loved ones to live a happy, comfortable life without having a shred of worry in their life. But this vision of mine will never be accomplished with lack of money. So it is imperative for you and for me to not just become rich, but to become generationally wealthy. So make sure that every single second of your life is dedicated towards your betterment so that you can be equipped for yourself and your family members when the time arises. Like the famous saying goes, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Life is unpredictable, and it's always in your best interest to be prepared and equipped with wealth and influence instead of being poor and irrelevant when the challenge arises. Because clearly, our society is structured in a way that punishes the poor. You don't have to earn wealth and influence to exploit people and systems. You have to earn it so that you and your loved ones don't get exploited when the time arises. And also make sure that you stand up for someone less fortunate. Such an enormous amount of wealth is not going to come overnight into your life. You will have to work hard for it. However, don't set small financial goals for yourself. Because the reality is, whatever the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve. So aim higher and strive to build enormous wealth. Just keep thinking of achieving enormous wealth over and over again, and your subconscious mind will eventually find a way for you to ethically earn the wealth you desire. There is no point in getting worn off in scarcity when you are meant to shine in abundance. The response so far has been gratifying. Thank you to everyone who liked, shared, watched, and subscribed. Thank you so much. If you like this video, then please like, share, and subscribe. That's it for today. See you soon.